life. And boy, our season premiere yesterday was awesome.
It kicked off great.
Well, it was 2 days ago. It was on Monday.
Right.
And I tell you what, I have met the coolest foster parents online the last couple of days, commenting and
comments after comments.
Oh yeah,
it's like yes.
Yeah, just coast to coast. I've had everybody from California to New York, Florida, all over the country commenting, and some totally for what we were talking about as far as the religion is concerned, and then some not so. But you know what was really cool about it, and you know that we have good foster parents out there, is nobody got nasty. Nobody, got hostile or anything. Everybody had a conversation.
Yep.
And
I shared what they wanted to, and it was perfectly okay.
And and everybody listened to each other. And I think that that's what we are hoping to do, is to start conversations.
Right.
And as a result of starting those conversations, I think we'll be able to get more foster families and lend support and do that as well. But I'm really, really amazed. So you ready for the big weekend?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
It's my birthday on Friday.
Are you gonna party it up, or what are we doing for your birthday?
I don't know. I hope you and Ethan have something really good planned.
We're in the works of something, but we aren't gonna tell you.
It's gonna be. I know it's gonna be good if Ethan and you and everybody else is involved in it. I'm sure that'll be a good time, and I'm ready for the weekend. But we have a great show today. We're gonna be talking about babies. And I know this sounds weird, but I love babies.
I think everybody loves babies, to be honest with you.
But we're going to talk about NICU babies that have been in the NICU, and then they come into our homes, and how we can prepare, what kinds of questions to ask, and do that. But first, we had a lot of good comments from Monday's show, and so I think, do you want to share some?
Yeah.
Let's share some.
I'll share some.
Okay, so you go first. You can share first.
This is from somebody in Michigan with the initials of JK. Said most religious agencies or private agencies, I think that they should be able to determine who becomes foster parents. What has happened to freedom of religion?
JP of California, religion can always be applied for your own decisions, but should not be forced on others. If we love each other, shouldn't we always help each other?
We've got LM from the good old state of Missouri.
Missouri!
I believe it is completely unfair for you to group all faith-based agencies this way. Missouri has licensed same-sex couples. Missouri Baptist Children's Home is one of them.
All right. Missouri. LP of Arizona says, very cool show. One agency told us we could not use their agency because of our religion. I thought it was the weirdest thing I had ever heard.
RJ from Arkansas. Most in Arkansas will not help if you are single or homosexual. They want a letter from your home church about character and if you attend. My sexual orientation, my religion, or marital status does not dictate type of parent I should be. I'm Tristan, and that's my drift.
And we have had 4 that have come from the NICU to our home. So I would say that we have a little bit of experience. But I really kind of want to go through this because when we had our first baby that came in a few years ago, we hadn't had a baby. We had all teenagers, older kids in our home, and then we got this baby, and we really didn't know anything. And so what we're hoping is that we can kind of refresh your memories in case you get a new baby. Maybe you've been fostering a while, but you kind of need that refresher course. Or if you're thinking about taking a baby, I'm hoping that we'll give you some information today that will help you so that it makes that transition process a little bit easier. The first thing, when you get the call, you want to ask questions. And I think that it's really important. You want to know, what kinds of things do we want to know?
Well, you want to know basically, I mean, is this baby going to need a lot of attention as far as, is it going to need just you helping this baby out
Right.
live its life, or is it going to need extra care like a nurse there at the home? How often is the nurse going to actually have to be at the home? Is this going to be a full-time nurse or a part-time nurse?
What types of services do you need, and really how much of those services are going to be in the home, and how much of those services are going to be outside the home? And the reason why you want to know about the services outside the home too is you're going to have to transport back and forth, and depending on what the needs are of that child, that can be, kind of a undertaking in itself. Other things that we want to know when we get the call. You think of anything else?
You're definitely going to want to know as far as how many bandages and stuff like that. Like how much pay and expenses is this going to come with this baby?
So elevated pay, and sometimes our workers won't tell us. They'll give us the regular, and then if you ask about elevated pay, then they'll go over it with you. I think that's a fair question to ask right out of the gate when the worker calls you.
I don't feel like you should feel guilty about that.
Oh no, not at all, because if you have to buy bandages, if certain things aren't covered as Medicaid, like oxygen tubes and some parts of the syringes for feeding tubes and things like that are not covered, and those are out of your pocket, and it definitely costs more money with a kid that has disabilities or has things from the beginning. So you need to know what your pay structure is going to be like.
Right.
How much training are you going to need?
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to say also.
Yep. And that's definitely a huge thing. Sometimes you got to cath them. Feeding tube, oxygen, bandages if they've had any type of surgery. So you really have to know what this is going to require, and then how you're going to get that training before they come home, because you can't take them home. If you got to cath them every time, you can't take them home unless you know how to do those things. 9 times out of 10, you're going to learn that stuff from the nurses and the doctors right there in the NICU, and they're going to train you. They're going to let you do it a few times there. Once you've made the decision that you're going to take that child, you're going to start visiting right away at the hospital. And when you do that, you're coming in as the parent.
Right, that's when the training starts,
Right.
is basically as soon as you get there to the hospital.
And the doctors and nurses are going to treat you just like you're the bio parent, and they're going to show you exactly what you need to do when you go home. And they're going to make sure that you're really comfortable with that child when you come home as well. And make sure it's good. Also, the one thing that I always really want to know about the child is what's the long-term goal. So and I think it's important to know that. Sometimes children come from the NICU and they have a terminal type illness. That's important to know. Sometimes when they come home, you need to know that, well, this child might require a wheelchair, this child might require this, that, or the other. And they're not always right, because I've had them tell me certain things, and it's not necessarily right. But
we've got kids breaking the odds all the
right,
time.
oh yeah, we always do. But it's always good to kind of have in your mind what it's going to require. One of our children that we have, he has the cleft palate, but it's got the skin over it, and he was born with that. Well, we've known since we took him that he had this, so we've been able to plan for his surgery as he gets older, and we kind of know what that is. And so just kind of see what that long term is as well. When we come back, we're going to talk about bringing those bundles of joy home from the NICU. It's all babies right here today on Foster Life. This is where the conversation starts, only on Foster Life. Welcome back to Foster Life. Today we are talking babies, and I'm going to tell you, in my house, right here, folks, baby magnet. My little girls love him. My little boy loves him. All my babies
One
love
sitting
him.
on one lap and then the other sitting on the other lap,
Yeah.
usually when I'm there.
My little 3-year-old goes down Walmart, and every nice looking guy she sees, she says, Twistin, there's Twistin. So they love him, and you love babies too, and I love babies. When we first started fostering, we didn't really think we were going to do babies. We were just going to do the older kids. And there's 2 mistakes that we made. One, they said, would you ever consider fostering girls? And we said, oh, absolutely not. We're men. You know, we'll just stick with the dudes and that type of thing. My daughter is my princess. And I honestly, I love my boys to death. I do. And you know I do.
Oh, I know you do, yeah.
But I kind of wish we wouldn't have been so stingy about the girls, because Rose has so much to offer that the boys don't. It's definitely 2 different sides of the aisle, and I wish that we would have been more open to that.
Mm-hmm.
But God picked all the kids that I have, so we're all good with that. The other thing that we said is that we didn't want to do the younger kids. I now have 5 babies all day long, every day in the home. I love it. There honestly is never a day that I say, oh, I wish these babies would just go away. I play with them, I sing with them, I teach them, I watch them learn. We just potty trained too, hallelujah. My diaper bill just went way down. And those are all things that I'll never forget, and will always be a part of our life. So, we're talking NICU babies today. They're getting ready to come from the hospital. What's the plan? What should we have done now that they're going to come home from the hospital?
Whenever they're coming home, you basically want to do the first steps. Basically, that is knowing how often maybe the nurse is going to be in the home.
Right.
Also, you want to go ahead and get your babies checked as far as hearing, occupational therapy, physical therapy.
Right.
Know basically what you're going to be dealing with on an everyday basis.
Right. Your state should have a government-funded agency. We call it First Steps in Missouri, and they're going to test that young one for see if they need physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. Yes, they're a brand new born baby, and they might need speech therapy. Honest thing, when Rose was born, I was driving her home from the hospital, and this lady calls and she says, hello, Mr. Frank, I'm Rose's speech therapist. And I'm thinking, speech therapist? She was just born. She don't even talk yet.
She's crying.
Right. She don't need no speech therapy. But the speech therapist is going to help with sucking, which is huge. Is going to help with a lot of things that have to do with the mouth that are going to help us later. So you want to make sure that that's set up and they're tested for that. What other things do we want to have ready before they come home? Definitely supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So if they need
oxygen,
Yep.
Oxygen would be one. Definitely making sure that the oxygen company knows that you're going to need that in advance.
If you're doing feeding tubes, making sure you have your tubing, your syringes, bandages, everything that you're going to need. So all of those services, and then setting up a schedule with your nurse. Is your nurse coming twice a day? Is she coming 3 times a day? Is she just going to come once a day? She's coming once a week. So making sure that you have that, and then so that you know every Friday he's going to be there with oxygen and trade out stuff and all of those things. If you need monitors, if the supply company doesn't cover it under their Medicaid, talk to the hospital. The hospital will tell you where you can get monitors. In our state, fortunately, and I don't know if every state is like this, but in our state, what the hospital does is they go ahead and give it to the foster parents, and then they come out and show us how to use it in the home, and then they come and pick it up when the doctor says that they don't need to have that anymore. I'm not sure if every state does that, but they did that for us because the medical supply company here in town didn't cover those services under Medicaid, so that was the way for the hospital to kind of help us out and give back to us. Otherwise, we would have had to rent that equipment, and it was expensive.
It gets costly whenever you're
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the price tags.
I don't know how, like new parents, like young parents that are just getting started in their careers and stuff, even afford that kind of stuff when they have a sick child and it's not covered under insurance. So the hospital is a really, really good resource. When we come back, we're talking NICU babies right here on Foster Life. So now we want to talk about, oh yeah, WIC.
13 and under for WIC.
Yeah. No, 5 and under.
Dang.
13 and under. You're trying to think about the free lunches again. Welcome back to Foster Life. Today we're talking about NICU babies, and they're coming home. And it's fun when they come home. Even when they have a lot like that, it's still fun when they come home. But there's definitely things that they have to get used to. Remember, moms and dads, they've been in the NICU. There's no hours in the NICU. So they're used to lights being on. They're used to commotion. Most of my babies slept best when I had the music on and we were partying and we were in the kitchen having dinner because they're used to that commotion. Yeah, going on and people around and they hear the pager thing. So if you put them in a hush-hush dark environment,
they're not going to like it.
Right.
Let's just say that.
So what is WIC?
WIC, it's a federally funded program.
Okay.
Basically to help with nutrition, like formula and milk.
Okay.
It's available to foster families.
Okay.
And also it's available to single mothers as well.
In every state, right?
In every state, yeah. For kids 5 and under.
Okay. So if I'm a foster parent and my partner has an awesome job and makes $300,000 a year, can I still get WIC?
No, unfortunately, it's based on income. So.
No, but I'm a foster parent, so I would still get it.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so yeah, you still get it. But it is based on income if you're not a foster parent. So
Hi, I'm Courtney. Join me every Monday on Foster Life, and we'll get the conversation started.
we're back. Oh, I love talking about babies. I don't have baby fever, but I'm afraid that.
Well, I'd say you have enough babies to not need
Oh
baby
my gosh!
fever.
I'll tell you what though, he'll probably watch this and we need another baby. No, we don't need another. We don't need another baby. We got 10, and my big ones act just like my little ones because they're spoiled rotten. So anyway, we have plenty of them. There is such a need for babies that come into care that have health issues, and I visit a lot of the support groups from California to New York, from Minnesota to Florida, I mean, and everywhere in between, and I see postings every day that they need a good home for a child.
Not just
that's
about NICU.
yeah. really good families. And I know that it can be seen a little bit scary at first, but man, if you have the right team, it's amazing. And I've learned so much. I mean, medical stuff that I didn't know that I've learned things
Nutritional
about
stuff.
Yeah.
Just with the WIC program.
yeah, nutritional stuff, how the brain works. Like I didn't know that if my kid talks a lot, that they're using one side of the brain more than the other side. If my kid is really wanting to crawl and move and do all of that stuff but doesn't talk at all, then they're using the other side of their brain, and that babies can't really use both sides of their brain like we can. And I've just learned a ton of things, and it's interesting, and then it's kind of cool to watch them grow and to blossom and to come through. And I just encourage anybody, if you have a heart for that, you have to have patience, because sometimes if they're really addicted, sometimes that crying can go on for a couple hours, and they can be, especially if they're going through withdrawals and whatnot, but you'll get through it, and you'll have fun with it.
And they may even be the loves of your lives eventually.
Yeah, you might end up adopting them like we have, but there is definitely a need out there, and I hope today, this is what I hope, that Tristan and I have talked about things to get a conversation going. I hope that we've given you something that is helpful in your foster journey. And if you're a foster parent out there watching right now, thanks. We have a lot of kids that need foster parents, and I want to thank you. If you're thinking about being a foster parent, and you're watching this because you think you might want to do this, I want to tell you thanks. Because just that you would take the time to think about it says a lot.
Means a lot.
Means a lot. And if you're out there and you're helping encourage, and you're getting involved in conversations, and you're giving ideas to other foster families, and you're supporting each other, I want to thank you. Because man, this journey, it would be pretty hard without a good support group around you. And I'll tell you what, my day has been just so awesome today, because I've got to talk with a ton of foster parents, and to see how they encourage each other and talk and have conversations and not be nasty, but listen. That's a pretty cool thing. And I tell you what, I know from being a foster parent, sometimes we get beat up pretty hard. Those bio parents can beat on us, and those caseworkers can beat on us, and those policy people can beat on us, and those attorneys can beat on us, and all of that. So I want to say thank you, and I hope you learned something valuable today. We're going to be back Friday, and we're going to be talking about how to de-escalate your kids before they tear the house up. We'll talk about that on Friday, right here on Foster Life. Only on
Foster Life.
No, only on
Foster TV.
There, he finally got it right, folks. All right.